No, it was fantastic. One of the best games I think I've been involved in from us in terms of a complete performance in the last few years. We did everything really, really well.
And we had blokes trying to hit sixes down the ground. And we just had dumb dismissals from guys that should know better because there's about 1,000 games worth of experience in the room.
It's the start of a new week at Trent Bridge, and for the Notts Outlaws, they have mixed results to reflect on. The highs of victories over Northamptonshire Steelbacks and Derbyshire Falcons were followed by a stark reality check in the shape of a home defeat against Leicestershire. But the atmosphere in the camp remains positive as Notts prepare for their next assignment against Birmingham Bears.
Today is really about reconnecting for me. Reconnecting to each other, to what we've got to do over the next 2 days. We've got back-to-back games. If I have any message, don't go ahead of tomorrow. Tomorrow's Warwickshire. So to connect to who you're going to play against, Cunny's put the team up there, so you're ready to go against the opposition you're going to play against. They're one place ahead of us in the table, so that's an incentive. Beating will go ahead of them. Our job is to get in the top 4 of that table. But it's connecting, there's going to be a big crowd, it's a Friday night, there's going to be lots of pressure on us to deliver, which is one of the most exciting things we get. 14,000 people last time, it's fantastic. And again, the focus for us is keep things really simple in your own game to be ready to go out and play on Friday. Lancashire will tackle that the day after. We've got a coach trip up there to get our heads around that. Tomorrow, every bit of focus for us is about beating Warwickshire and playing well as a team.
Homegrown fast bowler Jake Ball has been given the news that he's set to miss out on selection. Only a year on from his last appearance in international cricket for England, it's a bitter pill for the 28-year-old to swallow.
It's quite a tough thing to take because, like I say, when you less than 12 months ago was playing for England, to then not being able to get in your county team, it is quite a, mentally quite a tough thing to take. But I sort of see my mental strength as one of my big strong points, and it's about trying to bounce back from that, do what the coaches want you to do what you feel as well that you need to do to get back in the side. Obviously I didn't have the greatest start to the year, but it's the first time I've had a long time out of the game. I had 6 months without bowling a ball. That's the first time for a 28-year-old. I've not done too badly to get that far, but it was something new to me. I thought I would just step straight back in and be able to bowl the way I'd bowled, in the previous 6-7 years. It wasn't the case, and I've had to do quite a bit of sort of grooving work and making sure I get back to where I was 12 months ago. I think there's a bit of wind up there. I usually hit mine straight. Can sometimes be quite a lonely place when you're not doing so well, so it's good to have a good support base around you that you can go back to and chill and speak to. It's nice to do things like today and get out and play golf with my dad and brother and sort of just take your mind off it a little bit.
Club captain Stephen Mullaney is also spending time on the sidelines as he targets a swift recovery following knee surgery.
But what our biggest fear is that athletes become deconditioned when they're injured, and so our sort of philosophy is that whenever a player gets injured or has a more longer term rehab, like after Mull's had after his op, we just look to optimise that time to make sure that we see it as a real window, a real opportunity to get him as fit and strong as we possibly can. Mull's going to have to go out there, and the demands that he's going to have to face when he's back out there are obviously going to be greater than what mine would be if I'm working as a physio or a bloke who works in the office or whatever. So exciting time, mate. Exciting time, because the biggest risk of injury is past injury. So you're always more at risk, you're always more susceptible once you've had an injury. So not only do you have to really focus on making sure that the part, the joint or the muscle or the structure that you've injured is better than it was before you got injured, but you've got to make sure that everything else is optimised as well, mate. Anything we can do to reduce that risk.
It feels alright, it just feels like shaky.
Yeah, it's just fatiguing, mate. Yeah. Fatiguing. Strong, mate. It's looking strong. Really strong.
While Mulaney continues his recovery, for the remainder of the Outlaws squad, it's match day. T20 captain Dan Christian wins the toss and chooses to bat. Joe Clark and Tom Moores each post half-centuries as the Outlaws recover from the early losses of Hales and Duckett to post 184 for 4. And with the ball, the Outlaws enjoy their finest hour of the season, with Matt Carter and Luke Wood taking 3 wickets apiece. The visitors are bowled out for 113 to win by 71 runs, much to the delight of bowling coach Andy Pick.
The one thing we're talking to people about all the time is being able to do their job. That's what they strive to do. Everybody's got a pretty clear plan. It's just whether you can execute it. We've spoke before about execution, and tonight was one of those nights where everything that the guys did, they did it to a really, really high standard.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, Friday night's never boring at Trent Bridge, and obviously we put on probably one of the best displays we've had for a while. So I mean, it's great, and then all the lads perform, which is what you want. So you can't really get much better than that.
No, it was fantastic. One of the best games I think I've been involved in from us in terms of a complete performance in the last few years. We did everything really, really well. They bowled well up front, and we hung in there, and then the partnership from Tom Moores and Joe Clark was fantastic, and yeah, got us to a more than competitive total on that kind of wicket. And then that bowling performance was awesome as well. Matt Carter was great.
Tonight was good. Obviously, it was nice to make a decent impact for the team and do a decent job.
A day later, the Outlaws are back on the road to face unbeaten table toppers Lancashire Lightning.
The players want to know strengths and weaknesses of the opposition, really. So I've looked at wagon wheels against pace and spin on their batsmen, and looking at their bowlers' variations and their stock deliveries, basically. Who bowls in the power play, who bowls at the death, are there any patterns there, really?
It's one of those games where, come the end of the season, it can be quite decisive, and it costs them 2 points if we win it as well as the 2 that we win. I mean, I think coming into this weekend, I looked at it as, because Birmingham are a strong team as well, I looked at it, if we can come away with 4 points, and it puts us in a really strong position at the halfway point. So we beat the Bears last night, and obviously we'll try and beat this lot here as well on Sky tonight.
Former Leicestershire fast bowler Zach Chappell will make his Outlaws T20 debut.
Welcome to the club officially in your T20 capacity, mate. It's a very, very special club. One that's felt like home for me since the day I arrived, pretty much, and I'm sure that'll be the case for you as well. You bowl 90 mile an hour and smack it out of the park, so we're very lucky to have a player of your calibre coming into the team. And this cap has been worn most of the afternoon by Chris Nash. And the rate that he's molting at, there might be a few strands in there for you.
The Outlaws are greeted by a partisan Old Trafford crowd, but homegrown fast bowler Luke Wood finds the perfect way to silence them. With Pakistani international Imad Wasim also among the wickets, Lancashire are plunged into deep trouble at 35 for 4. But Lancashire's star all-rounder Glenn Maxwell hauls his side to a competitive total of 151. Then it's over to the batsmen. And with a succession of established players falling to catches in the deep, the Outlaws surrender a winning position and are beaten by 3 runs.
It's a bit of a tricky one to know where to go with it, because it's a game if we should have won. We all know we should have won it. And if we learn anything from it, it's got to be it was a catalogue of dumb decisions that cost us the game. They were dead. They had a couple of spinners to bowl their spinners, and they had to go back to the seams at some point. The game was over, and we gave them that. So you just can't get away from that. I think if you take anything else, I think they outfielded us, credit to them, and how they did. So every player on our side has to know If we're going to do what Dan said, which we're going to peak by the 21st, you peak because you adapt and you assess and you get better. But if people in the room want to become great players, you have to take responsibility when it's your chance. And if you don't take it, it's fine. Then you accept it that you made the mistake. You also can't make the excuse that, well, do I hit, do I not hit type thing. You have to be better than that if you're going to be in a successful team. Some of the bowlers had outstanding days, but we didn't cash in with the points. And that, to me, is just about as frustrating as it gets, I reckon. Just about as frustrating as it gets. Can't let it derail us, because it's not the one that will dictate whether we qualify or not. The question is, to qualify and win a tournament, we have to keep getting better. Yesterday was probably close to our perfect performance today. We've had 20%, 20-25% of the game away with the fairways. So that's where I come from.
I don't mind us being aggressive, but some things we did today, they were just dumb. Glenn Maxwell, everyone's saying how good a player of spin Glenn Maxwell is. How many sixes did Glenn Maxwell hit down the ground off spin today? He did not hit one. And we had blokes trying to hit sixes down the ground. And we just had dumb dismissals from guys that should know better, because there's about 1,000 games worth of experience in the room. We just got to stop doing it, boys. We've got to start learning from the mistakes we're making and watch what happens in the first innings and be able to assess it and go, yep, he did that pretty well. The twos count surprised me a bit. They only got 2 more twos than us, but I don't reckon they ran 1-2 in the first 10 overs. They would have ran all 13 twos in the next 10. And we had 11 for our whole innings. A reflection on the way they bat and how quick Dane Villas is, yes, but they also fielded us. They fielded better than us. How many balls did Dane Villas hit over anyone's head at deep square leg or deep mid wicket today? None. How many times did he try to? None. We've just got to be smarter. We need to be smarter. We've all played a lot of cricket, and we need to start doing it on the field like we did last night. We were perfect last night. And tonight we made silly mistakes. It's just really disappointing.